Welcome back to What's Good Games, dance move courtesy of Alexa Ray Correa, who is joining me. From our studio here in the San Francisco Bay Area. Welcome back to the show. It's our post E3 show. We all survived. I would say we all made it back, but Christine Steimer, you're still in Los Angeles.
I am, because I live here.
It's beautiful there, though, isn't it? You love it.
Oh, yeah, it's great. I love it.
Miss Brittany Brombacher is also joining us. Hello.
I am. Hello. Hi.
I love that you have your little Mario guy dressed up in our WGG hat, part of our merchandise prototyping that we are doing. We hope to bring you guys some What's Good Games merchandise in the very near future. I want to give a little disclaimer. We've heard some comments for people who watch the video version of this show saying that you guys would like us to adjust our graphics package to essentially make our videos bigger on the screen and the borders smaller. And I want you to know that we hear you. We are working on it. We will probably take another week or so to implement those changes, but know that your feedback has been received and it's a work in progress. So now that that's out of the way, I'd like to start off the show by giving a plug to one of our fantastic sponsors, TakeThis.org. Did you know, Alexa Ray, that 1 in 4 people in America deals with a mental health issue?
I did not know that.
1 in 4. That's 25% of the population. Talking about mental health symptoms is the fastest way to find hope and healing. But the stigma of mental health issues makes a lot of people feel like they have to suffer in silence, which is never a good thing. Take This helps by letting people know it's okay to not be okay. And there's help. Visit TakeThis.org for stories from people like you, advice from mental health care experts, and tips for how to help people you love who might be struggling. Take This. It's dangerous to go alone. That, of course, a wonderful Legend of Zelda reference. So thank you, Take This, for supporting our show. If you guys have any questions or concerns or anything at all, please visit their website. They are a bunch of fantastic people who run that organization.
They are wonderful.
Another site we would love for you to visit, patreon.com/whatsgoodgames. Thank you to all of our patrons out there who are listening and watching the show this week. We love and care for you. We think you're wonderful. We have some cool exclusive content that's going to be going live next week for everyone who got paid up for the month of May, which we're really excited about. If you guys want to get in on that, you can find all the details on our reward tiers on patreon.com/whatsgoodgames. You can subscribe to us on iTunes. Hey guys, even if you don't listen on iTunes, it would be really awesome if you could rate and subscribe to us there. It would really help us out. We'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Mm-hmm. And of course, we've also got our youtube.com/whatsgoodgames account. You can catch all of our video, and you can follow us on Twitter at whatsgoodgames. So, enough with the plugs. Ladies, is everybody doing okay? We survived E3.
We did it. Our voices are mostly back. Mostly.
Mine's fine.
Brittany's shell-shocked.
No, it flew. What's today, Wednesday?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Today is Wednesday. So I'm trying to think, what were we doing a week from today?
Panicking.
You mean a week before?
We were on the
In the
Facebook
past.
Live stage. We talked to a bunch of people. I believe you went to go see Techland.
Wow.
Also saw Namco Bandai, maybe?
Yeah, it's just hard to believe that was a week ago.
It was
I feel
a
like
week
that was
ago.
ages ago. Yeah.
It was indeed.
Yep.
It was.
Like another world, another time.
But we're here.
It is
we
sort of
made
like
it.
a weird black hole of your life, isn't it?
black hole.
Everything just gets sucked into it, and then you leave and you're like disoriented and you don't know what just happened. But
That's true. I always feel like I never talk to anybody who doesn't exist outside the video games business that entire week. It's like mom, dad, friends. If you don't work in video games, it's just like, no, can't deal.
I have like 4 friends' birthdays and my dad's birthday during E3.
Yikes. That's a lot of responsibility.
I'm like, I know all I do is like, all I can do is text you, and you have to know that that's all I am able to give you at this point in time.
You're like,
Yeah, I make it a point. I make it a point at least once a day during E3 to send my mom a simple text that says nothing but "I'm alive and I love you," and that's all she needs. She knows that's all she's getting. Because we text a lot and talk a lot. Well, see, thank you.
I'm really happy to be eating regular meals again and like not
Ooh, yeah,
living
eating
off
is
granola
great.
bars.
Yeah, I don't think I went 4 days without having dinner.
I was very sad. We brought you that. Brittany did bring that emergency chicken strip.
So this is a great story. So
I gave it to Andrea.
If you guys have watched any of our coverage over the last week, you might have seen that we had the opportunity to live stream Sea of Thieves from the Xbox booth at E3. And right before we went live, Brittany very kindly, and this is so quintessential E3, I was like, I'm starving. I haven't eaten. I need something. She brings me a single chicken tender wrapped in napkins. It's like, here, I have brought sustenance for you.
I remember I had initially specifically requested one chicken strip for Brittany, and she like gave it to me like she was side handing someone like a packet of cocaine. She was like, "Here, I brought it." And it was just like a chicken strip. So you arrived like
did she like pull open her jacket?
And at this point,
hello, stranger.
At this point,
it was the fucking
like,
Holy Grail.
It was like the Holy Grail, and we're like rationing our snacks. So we're just like, Andrea, you need this way more than any of us right now. Like, take the chicken strip.
I'm gonna pass out
the chicken
strip to the rescue.
The magical,
well, the best thing about
E3
E3 food is that you haven't eaten, and so it all tastes phenomenal. So I treated that chicken strip, like I said, like it was the Holy Grail, because at that point it was the Holy Grail.
It was.
I don't think it tastes better.
It was.
But
good.
I do think you're just so grateful to eat anything that you're like, this is fine.
It tasted good.
Brittany and I had a grilled cheese at, what's that place called? Tom's something on the corner?
Tom's Urban.
Tom's Urban had a
Yeah.
grilled cheese that was like the best. It was just a greasy ass, like the cheese was half cooked. It was fine, but it was like the best grilled cheese I'd ever had in my life.
It was fine.
It was fine.
Before we get into the news, I wanted to show off these cool little Pixel Pals that we got in the mail from our friends at PDP. So
they're super cute.
This one is, as you can see, is Harley Quinn. And the one in my right hand is the Joker. Now, for people who are listening to this and not watching, they light up. So I just turned it on. Like it's a little bit hard to see on the video here, but they're really kind of cool little lights. They're battery operated. So our friends at PDP
cool night light
over. They have a bunch of different characters involved, but I wanted to show these off because we have an extra one, and they just might make their way into the Patreon care packages for July. So if you guys haven't checked out that tier on our Patreon, it is, of course, a tier full of random awesome merch. If you want to get in, you might be able to get your hands on one of these bad boys in your box. So I just wanted to show that real quick.
That's what she said.
Brittany!
No, it's okay. You guys also need to know that we had a little bit of a softening cocktail. At least Alexa and I did.
That was not a softening cocktail.
Brittany did. We may have been troubleshooting for a little while before we got everything up and running for this show. But we're here now. We made it. Everything is A-okay. So let's get into the news, shall we? The first story that I'd like to talk about this week is Final Fantasy 15 episode Prompto. Got a new trailer and a release date, which is coming out on June 27th. In it, Prompto, Final Fantasy 15's gunslinging hero, is searching for the truth of his origin out in a frigid Arctic setting. This is the first time the character is playable in Final Fantasy 15. It is part of the season pass, which is $24.99, and it includes 6 episodes in all, plus an all-new gameplay mode in the season pass. So I loved that you, Alexa Ray, called this Metal Gear Prompto.
Metal Gear Prompto.
Why'd you say that?
Oh, it does look like that.
So if you watch the trailer, so Final Fantasy 15 is a third person. When you're in battles, it's third person. So you're playing as Noctis, but you're watching the whole screen. Prompto, of the 4 boys, Prompto is the guy with the guns. So a lot of his gameplay that we have seen is it's either first person E or it's over the shoulder. Like there's a lot of instances in the gameplay where you get a larger gun. There's a bazooka in the trailer, or in a rocket launcher, and you actually get to, instead of just fighting as you would with sort of like swords as you do in most of Final Fantasy 15, you have him actually stopping and aiming his gun and shooting. So there's a little bit of a shooter element to this particular version. To this particular DLC. They also show him, Brittany, you saw the trailer too. Is he like, he's like sneaking around and like taking people down from behind and like choking them, and there's like stealth stuff.
There's like big monsters.
Big monsters? Arenea's back? What's going on?
Oh. So, Prompto is my boy. I cried, admittedly, the first time I saw this. It's stupid and it's emotional, but it's a thing that happened. Yeah, so he wasn't brought up among like the royal family, like Iggy and Gladdy. That's why he is the guy with the guns, and that's why he is shooting all of the things. What I noticed out of all of this was the fact that he had some intense ninja moves. Did you see that shit? Like high kicking?
Yes. Yeah. He's like...
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we're not laughing at you. Our unnamed producer may be giving Mario a starring role in an upcoming shot of this podcast.
I'm really scared. I
was hesitating because last time the ladies would start laughing, for those of you listening, it was because Steimer's internet crapped out and she would be frozen in a random frame. So it was like I shifting over to Steimer to see if she was stuck. That's why I was hesitating.
Still there.
She's not
still here.
But anyway, yeah, so he has some badass ninja moves, and he drives a snowmobile, and he looks very, I think Prompto will, like, this is going to be the part, I hate saying this, turns into a man. You know what I mean? It's like
Prompto
he's this little, like, sheepish. Yeah, he's this little sheepish boy among the group, and then I think after this, we're going to see, like, that moment where he's just like, yeah.
I'm disappointed that it's not called Promptolius.
No.
Episode Promptolius.
I'm really excited for this DLC because, and Brittany, maybe you feel differently than I did about episode Gladiolus, but episode Gladiolus was kind of disappointing and felt like it was, oh, we have to make an episode for Gladio. Let's put it out now. And like, even just the trailer for episode Prompto looks way more interesting and way more promising from a narrative perspective and a gameplay perspective than Gladiolus did. So I'm super, super, super jazzed for episode Prompto because of that. And the other reason is my favorite female character in that entire game, Aranea, is, I guess,
the only female character in that entire game.
Pretty much, unless you count Gladdy's thirsty little sister as like a main character.
She's thirsty, huh?
She's very thirsty. She's very thirsty. She just wants to bang Noctis.
I mean, but can you blame her?
I mean, he's kind of like sad all the time. He's a sad man. Noctis is
I go
sad
for the
boy.
emo ones.
He's very emo. But I'm really excited for it because all of that together just looks really great. And I know that episode Prompto, I mean, gathering from what the developers have said about it and from what I've heard from staff themselves, because I've talked to the staff a bunch of times, it seems like a lot of love went into episode Prompto. I actually met Prompto himself last week at E3. And hi, Robbie. Are you watching?
Does he have fabulous hair?
If Robbie's listening, and he seemed really excited about it, and was just like, "Do you want to know how it ends?" So, like, I guess
you're like, no spoilers.
No, shut up, dude. But I guess it was a project that was near and dear to the team's heart, and sounds really exciting, both from the story and then from the look we get to mash up the Final Fantasy gameplay and make it like a shooter thing. We're actually going to stream it next week, hopefully, Brittany?
Yeah, we'll be streaming it on Thursday, episode Promptolius. And Alexa will be playing, I will be drinking.
And crying.
And probably crying. And it'll be good. It'll be very exciting. Christine looks like she's dead.
It's more, I'm just, it's Prompto, it's Prompto land. But
land.
I want to know, at what point, is this after this main story takes place? Is this like is this an after add-on, or is it a pre thing? Where in the timeline does this fall?
So without spoiling it, there's a segment of the game, and like Gladiolus had this too. There's a segment of the game where Prompto is no longer with the main group of boys. So that's when this takes place. I'm not going to spoil it, but
so you get
should
to
play
see
it.
where. Okay. I mean, I've got things to do, but yes, I should.
I'm giving you homework, Christine. This is your homework.
All right, you heard
I'll
the lady.
take the homework.
Okay.
You mean like I get to play a game with a bunch of hot dudes in it? Okay.
Twist my arm. Okay, next story. Diablo 3, Rise of the Necromancer DLC has been announced. Modeled after Diablo 2's Priests of Rathma, the Necromancer class allows players to consume essence from downed enemies and take direct control of undead creatures. The DLC launches globally on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC next Tuesday, June 27th, and will set you back 15 smackaroos.
Well,
Crickets.
Steimer, no. Diablo person, right?
I mean, I like
enjoy
Diablo. I
playing
just
Diablo.
haven't picked it up in a long time.
Diablo?
I mean, I guess this is a good way to like kind of jump back in to this game.
Yeah,
this
it's a
is
new
the game
class.
we could play together, ladies.
Yay!
Could do it. So I've played Diablo 3 twice, and every time I've played as a barbarian. I did have the chance to go hands-on with the Necromancer at PAX East, I believe it was. Yeah, excuse me, PAX East. So that was several months ago, and since then my brain has been logged with many other things, so this is kind of nothing but a hazy memory at this point. But I remember the Necromancer was really fun to play because there's a balance of sorts because she feeds off of blood and life, and so you have to gather blood and then use that blood to attack. It's awesome, and so I'm thinking I'll try it because
it's like a blood mage.
Yeah, there you go. So I played Diablo 3, like I said, twice all the way through, but I always tend to get bored toward the end because I only play Barbarian because that's my class, but Necromancer seems different enough that it could make the experience enticing all the way through again. So I'll try it. I'm excited for it.
Cool.
Yeah, no, I mean, it gives you a nice excuse to jump back into Diablo. It's been a long time since there's been any sort of content for that game that has intrigued me to this point, so I'll play it.
I'm excited for the Necromancer, but I kind of want a new expansion. I'm just putting that out there. More story.
Do you want a new expansion or do you want a new Diablo?
Dang.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I mean,
you won't get one for a while because they wouldn't do that.
Though.
2012 that game came out.
But Blizzard really likes to milk a single game iteration by putting out expansions. I mean, we're talking like a decade, right, between new iterations.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They like doing games as a service, so put out one and then just update it for a very long time, which I appreciate, that model.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want more Diablo. I don't care how it comes, just I want it to be kind
That's
of
what she said.
I was wondering if you're going to say anything.
God damn
Steimer.
it. That almost works, then.
Damn it.
Well, if you'd cut the sentence off earlier, she kept going, so then
it's fine. Okay, next story. So this one is kind of an interesting one. So Sega has announced Sega Forever. Classic games are coming to your iOS and Android device. Each game will be available for free. You can then pay $1.99 to turn the ads off in the game. It will include modern features like cloud saves, Bluetooth controller support, and online leaderboards. Sega notes, however, that you can still play each game offline. At launch, 5 Sega Genesis games will be available, including the original Sonic the Hedgehog, Comic Zone, Altered Beast, Kid Chameleon, and Phantasy Star 2. A quote from a company spokesperson says, as the Sega Forever collection expands through the months and years, it will include both official emulations and ported games that pan all Sega console eras, each adapted specifically for mobile devices, while remaining faithful to the original games.
It's like
who's excited? What's the point of this?
But Sega
What's
Forever.
The point?
The point is that you can play older games on your phone, Brittany.
Great.
And I know that
why would you
on the go?
Negative Nancy's here.
No, we're not. This is a legit question. I mean, there are millions of other platforms I can play Sonic on. There are probably a lot of these games. Like, the last place I want to play them is on my phone.
Well, maybe you're not anyone.
Counterpoint.
Counterpoint. Yeah.
As someone who used to do the, I get up at 7 a.m. and commute for an hour and then leave at 5 p.m. and then commute for an hour. That's how I fell into the Fire Emblem Heroes hole, because it was something to do for an hour. So I can imagine this would appeal to those kind of people, the people that are, maybe traveling and then come home and are too tired or have too much work going on to boot up their PlayStation and play a Sonic or whatever. So I can see who this is appealing to.
Plus not everybody can afford a Vita or a Switch, but they can, they do have a phone, so the fact that they could play a quote-unquote regular game on their phone, I think, would be appealing to them.
But also,
that's fair.
But also, what is Sega doing?
That I don't know.
I mean, obviously they have new Sonic games coming out. I mean, they showed those games off at E3.
Right, and they were good. Christine and I played Sonic, which one? Sonic Forces? And it was good, the new one?
Yeah, that
or
one?
Sonic
Mania. I don't remember which one it
the
was.
New one.
The
one where everything is on fire and Sonic is Groody and Shadow's back for some fucking reason. But it was good. And it was good. But I just feel like bringing them to phone is an easy move. I know there's a lot of games in their backlog that people want to see localized or want to see elsewhere. So I'm just
and $1.99 for no ads is it's a great price.
Yeah.
So I think that will end up, people will pay for that. I would pay for that. So.
I'd pay for it for Sonic only. Those other games.
Yeah, I was about to say actually just for Sonic,
Star.
but
Phantasy Star.
No, was that your thing back in the day?
I like Phantasy Star.
Is there a Genesis game that you would want to see come to this program? I have one in
Aladdin?
my mind. That's the one I was
That's
thinking
it.
of.
That's the only one I want. Give me Aladdin, and you can take all of my dollars. Like, whatever.
Aladdin costs $100. The rest costs $2.
That's that
I
Disney
would
licensing.
Put it
Okay.
on. Give me Aladdin on my phone.
If they bring Crystal's ponytail, I will buy it.
What is that?
What is Crystal's ponytail?
No one knows what this game
Andrea
was.
knows.
No, I think I remember
Oh, do
this
you?
game.
Oh, okay. So it was like a storybook fantasy, looks like a Disney movie game, and you were this pony, and it was a platformer, and it was not a very good game at all. But when you're young and you're easily impressed, it was fantastic for what it was. And what was the best part of this game was that you could customize the color of your pony's mane and her tail. And you had to go save all of your pony friends, and there was quirky music, and it was glorious. And that's like one of my favorite Genesis games, even though it wasn't that good of a game.
It's got ponies.
I can't wait for you to replay that and realize how garbage it is.
I should play that for one of our streams if I can
Salty
make it happen.
Steimer.
Wow.
Salty
Where's that
Steimer.
Salty Steimer graphic? We need it right now.
She's the one that said it. She was like, it's not a very good game.
But you
You can
the
love
nostalgia there.
something.
So okay,
That's not very
so
good.
I retract.
That's
You
true.
guys
I didn't say you
answered you answered my question, so now I understand why people would want this Sega Forever shindig. I would be really curious to know about numbers. Like, how much do they really make off of this?
$199.
But we'll never
find
know.
out. Well, actually,
Well,
no.
no, like install base and numbers and all that, but we'll never probably find out. That's okay.
Well, if it does really well, they'll release sales numbers, but only if it does, like, tens or hundreds of millions of dollars. So I guess we'll have to wait and see. If you guys are interested in Sega Forever, if there's a Sega game that you are particularly excited about maybe coming to the catalog, why don't you let us know what that is? Leave us a comment below on the YouTube video. Hit us up on Twitter. Leave us a message on our Patreon page. We'd love to talk to you about it. Next story. There was a giant multiplayer overhaul that is now here for Pokemon Go. So we've talked about Pokemon Go on the show before. So there is quite a few new features. But I think some of the highlights from this is that there is added raid battles, which is a new cooperative gameplay experience. There are new items available for these battles. The gym features significantly have been updated to add an all-new motivation system. Brittany, have you checked out all of these new features and functionality as our resident Pokemon expert?
I haven't, but I've read about them, but it's not enough to get me back into the Pokemon Go craze. Like, $800 will not be dropped anytime soon. And the main reason is they haven't overhauled the gameplay. It's still like a tap fest, and that's what needs to go far, far, far away.
Yep.
Yeah.
The whole
I
reason
agree with you, Brittany.
Pokemon is exciting is because you have those turn-based battles and you can strategize what moves to use against what Pokemon. Like, that's what brought me to that series when I was younger. And the raid battles sound like grade A poop. Like, they're just it's
Grade
the
A
same
poop.
thing. It's the same thing where you're tap battling, but it allows 10 people to tap battle at once. So it's just the same thing for 10 or something. It's the same thing. And then there's where's the...
I'm so sorry.
I really hope somebody watching this video will make what
I can't
Steimer
do
just
that.
did into a GIF.
It's bad.
Great.
This
I'm
is
making
not
a note
fun.
for later.
This is not fun.
Mario, welcome to the
no.
podcast.
No, Lexa, I agree with you. Like, the
Those are the
strategy is what makes Pokemon so fun. And that's, I mean, I think raids it sounds like it could be a step in the right direction, but it's been a year since we've launched this thing, about a year, and this is the best you have to offer. And it's, again, not trying to be Salty Steimer here, but it's Pokemon. So I wish, like, some trait. Yeah, you get it.
Are you thinking it's a little, like, too little too late?
I mean, they did change the one thing where high-level players would camp out in gyms, and you couldn't like have any sort of meaningful impact on a gym. And now they changed it where, like, if your team is in control, you can feed the other players Pokemon and make them stronger or something. So the way that they changed that up so players can no longer camp is pretty good. Like, that was a change that needed to happen. But like like you say Pokemon multiplayer, I think here's my 6, there's your 6, let's fuck each other up. Like, and then you get to like actually, and then you get to actually pick and choose. Like, the strategy is what makes Pokemon so interesting. There's 800 goddamn Pokemon these days because of the strategy that comes with having 800 goddamn Pokemon. So the Tap Fest is just not going to work. I don't know. Are you gonna like dig it out, Britt? Like what?
She just said she wasn't going to.
Well,
No.
Listen,
I am
Alexa.
listening. But are you gonna try?
The only thing that would get me to try it would be the raids because they have private and public lobbies. And then that way, you know, if you just want to like fight against the super strong. So raids, how they work is that there will be a random countdown above a gym at a random time. And you and up to, I think, over 12 players can go fight this super strong Pokemon. Like it can be like a Machamp, for example. And at the end of that, you can try to capture it, you know, like you would any other Pokemon. And that's kind of exciting. And I like the idea of being able to do it with just a couple of friends if you want to, like, try to be a badass baller. But, yeah, I'm kind of curious about that. But, again, it's the gameplay. I don't want to say it's too little too late because I might have a couple drinks and walk a boardwalk and see what happens.
We could,
is
maybe,
it out?
If you guys are up for it,
Yeah.
maybe
Brittany.
one of us could live stream on our phone and some other people could play and we could walk around and catch some Pokemon next
Let's do
time
it.
that we're all together.
Let's do it. Yes,
That could
that'd
be
be
fun.
fun.
Are you saying you only want to
Steimer.
tap it privately with your friends?
God damn it, Steimer.
I've been holding that in for so long.
That's what she
I
said.
could tell you had something to say.
I want to grab your
We're
little
on
neck
a roll.
and just squeeze it.
Oh my god.
You're the best.
I could tell you had something to say, Steimer, because you had this little
was-
sheepish grin on your face the whole time. That was
Like
great.
beads
I
of
was like,
sweat
please,
were forming
somebody
on
let
her
me
upper
say
lip.
this.
She was like, "Oh, I've got this joke coming, guys. It's gonna be so good."
So we'll tap it and we'll give it a tap when you're all in
Together.
town next week.
All right, well, tap it together with Pokemon. Next story: Detroit Become Human is rumored. No more. It's now coming in 2018. According to a GameSpot article, developer Quantic Dream will launch the David Cage game in 2018. They didn't give a specific date, and
I would guess
PlayStation
late.
didn't mention a release window, but apparently Mr. Cage said it's coming sometime in 2018. I don't think this is that surprising. I am a little shocked that they didn't put a release window on the trailer that
Right,
we
that's
saw
weird.
at the PlayStation press conference, and
I'm
that
not-
he then confirmed those assets afterwards. But I mean, that sounds about right. This game has been in development for a little while now. Are you guys
The
surprised,
fact that
excited,
David's saying
anxious?
it though, and not anybody else, makes me think there's a possibility it would get pushed to early 2019. Just saying.
I mean, I'd
Like
be
he might
surprised
be
if
a
that
little
pushed that
more.
far.
He might be a little more confident, maybe, than other people. I don't know, because the fact that they didn't put it in there, I don't know. They could have.
Yeah, I mean, he
and I do
announced it
think-
a week later. It's like, okay. I mean, did you not
Yeah.
have that knowledge a week ago? But, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
excited for it. I heard
I
it
would-
doesn't... Go ahead.
Oh no! I was gonna say I would just guess it would be late. It's gonna be late 2018. Like nobody expect this in January of 2018. Like, that's
Oh,
not
no,
gonna
I would
happen.
imagine if it was Q1 or Q2, they would have announced that window right away. I mean, you want to push pre-orders as early as possible, right? So I
True
did
that.
think Alexa, are you okay?
Do you see what's...
Yes, I see our unnamed producer is taking some creative liberties.
I'm keeping it together
with the,
as best I
with the
can.
video stream, there is a Mario bottom to the head of a Detroit character happening. Some kind of mashup is happening on screen. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have never watched our video version of the podcast,
Now is the time.
you might want to
Don't.
check it out sometime. That's youtube.com/what'sgoodgames. Okay, so
What was your question about Detroit?
Okay, moving on, since this segment's already getting kind of long. Skull and Bones is going to get a narrative campaign. So we know that
Thank
Ubisoft
God.
said that this was going to be multiplayer. That's what they focused on at E3. But now, according to a spokesperson, they will also offer a narrative campaign, which will be integrated into the game and will not be something aside of the multiplayer experience. In this campaign, players will encounter iconic characters and memorable rival pirates. More details will be shared at a later date. As for the E3 demo, we only showed Loot Hunt, one of our PvP modes, in Disputed Waters. We'd like to say that this is just the tip of the iceberg of what we have to show for Skull and Bones. Now, there's obviously
You don't
a
want
Titanic joke in
Titanic
there
jokes.
somewhere.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's... Okay.
we described this team. I heard multiple times describe Skull and Bones as like, what did you call it, Steimer? Serious business Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
No, this is
I
nothing
did.
like Sea of Thieves.
But-
The
but
only
that
thing
was
they have in
bef-
common
that
is
was-
pirates.
I like pirates.
That was before I saw how the gameplay was. So to be fair, Like, that was just based on, like, the initial Ubisoft trailer. And then I went and saw the game, and I was like, this is nothing like Sea of Thieves. Never mind.
Okay, so question. When Skull and Bones debuted at the Ubisoft press conference, I was really excited for the first maybe, like, 30 seconds. I was thinking, like, oh, man, like, a full-fledged, like, pirate game. Oh, and then it showed the multiplayer stuff, and I was admittedly disappointed as someone who doesn't enjoy online multiplayer or PvP. So I'm wondering, and I would love to hear your opinion on this, do you think they should have teased the single-player stuff rather than the multiplayer stuff?
No, I think they wanted to go multiplayer because this whole game was really inspired by people in the community saying, I would love to do ship battles, give me more ship gameplay. I mean, it's the exact same team who created the water and ocean mechanics and the ship gameplay from Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. You know, Ubisoft Singapore, we get a chance to talk to one of them on stage at Facebook Live, and you guys can check out that interview at facebook.com/E3Expo if you would like to hear more about that specific interview. But it sounds to me like they wanted to focus on PvP because that's kind of where people were really excited about the potential opportunity, and they couldn't add that into Assassin's Creed at the time because they were really focusing it as a single-player experience. I agree with you that I'm super excited that they're adding a single-player narrative campaign to this game because I really loved that mechanic in Assassin's Creed Black Flag, but sometimes I just don't want to play PvP. I don't want to rage quit. I just want to, like, you know, shoot some cannons at rival pirate ships by myself.
I love you guys.
Yeah, I think they could have teased single player, like, more. Like, maybe just give us a little something. And then, but continue their focus on multiplayer.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they even have a little something to tease at this point, and that's probably
not. Yeah, you're probably right.
Well, do you think maybe that was like do you think that that post E3 announcement was like we're going to work on it because people asked for it, or do you think it was like a thing when we went into E3?
I'm sure it was a thing. There's no way this game was just multiplayer.
Yeah. I mean,
and if it was, it wouldn't have been a $60 game.
Well, I mean, not necessarily. We've seen $60 games with less content that are multiplayer.
I'm saying
but I agree that
shouldn't be.
Agreed.
I mean, I love you guys, but considering the disaster that was us trying to get through Sea of Thieves, I will probably play this game mostly by myself. So, single player. But I love you all.
You were the one that fired me into the ocean.
Okay, look.
Or
I was trying to drive.
Into the ocean.
You were getting drunk and playing accordions in my face.
Steimer, you did have a
not playing
accordion in Sea of Thieves. If no one's here to tell you, I'm here to have an intervention. You as a pirate needs to cut back on your grog intake.
I did not throw up once, so I don't think I have a problem.
We're very concerned. We're sending you to pirate AA.
No.
Oh my gosh, what is happening on screen right now? Now. Oh my god. Okay, listen. There's one more story that somebody put into the show notes here about Super Mario Odyssey. Do you want to talk about this, or should we skip it?
Now I'm curious.
It takes 2
what
seconds.
Is it? Who added it?
Okay, so someone posted a Twitter picture on Facebook. That I was about to fuck that all up. Someone posted a picture on Twitter and I have it here, and so I will show it to you ladies, and I will describe it for those of you who are just listening. Can you see it?
You printed it out.
Yes.
Yeah,
Wait,
I'm
I see
fucking
it.
fancy like
Okay,
that.
so what is that, like a Kirby and a Mario hat?
So there's 2 photos of Kirby. There's one on the left wearing a Mario hat, and above that says Kirby has eaten Mario.
Can you bring it a little closer? There we go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
There we go. Okay, so the photo on the right has the same Kirby with a mustache, and it says Kirby has been possessed by Mario. Know the difference. And Nintendo clapped back, and they were like, actually, he's being captured. So Nintendo does not like the fact that we are using the word possessed. Or maybe they're just being silly tongue-in-cheek. But Alexa, I thought of you when I saw this, because I know you have a thing with possession and Cappy.
Yeah, no, you're totally possessing things with the ghost and the cat.
Absolutely.
I stalked up to Bill Treenan himself and asked him, Bill, is the hat a ghost possessing a hat, or is it a hat ghost? Because this is an important distinction. And he looked at me and he said, we have nothing to announce at this time. So I never got my
answer. He
answer.
dodged you like a slick politician.
He did, but he did give me a cappy pin, which was very nice. But when you throw that hat in the game, the hat, like Mario's whole being, his whole being goes into goes into whatever you're possessing, whether it be a human man or a bullet bill or a thing in the desert. I don't know, but like his whole person goes into it. And the actual Merriam-Webster definition of what that action is possession. So I don't know, Nintendo. I don't know. It's definitely possession. Captured is one of your like in-universe made-up capital pronouns. It's possession.
You think they don't want to use the word possession because it implies some kind of like dark, derogatory, or evil thing?
Yes.
And Nintendo's like, we're trying to be family friendly.
1,000%.
Maybe,
totally.
But you're literally a small Italian plumber with a magical hat becoming giant bullets and stone men and
video
like
games.
creatures.
Video games.
Yeah.
Suspension of disbelief, folks. This is a fantasy land.
Okay.
It's
Alexa, maybe you
possession.
just are getting a little worked up about it.
No, I'm right.
No, I'm right.
No, I'm right. It's totally possession. I'm not using your fake pronouns, Nintendo. It's possession.
No, you're correct, Alexa. It's possession.
It's possession. But that's
That
fine.
is all.
It's fun. It's like really fucking fun.
It's the best way to possess.
Wait, oh my gosh.
So yeah, it's possession. But maybe
Jesus, fuck. God damn it, Steimer. I've seen too many paranormal activities for you to be pulling that shit. So those who are just listening, Christine just like made a really possessed gesture and it was not good. It's very
Well, we
scary.
have Demon Mario.
yeah,
on
our
screen.
unnamed producer is on fire
okay.
today.
Okay, ladies, that'll wrap up our first segment. That is the news for this week. We will be right back after the short break with Hands On. We've played some games and we're going to talk about them. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Our snazzy theme music.
It's so good.
Big ups to Dale North for that fantastic composition. That is the original What's Good Games theme music. So now is the time where we get to talk about games that we've played. Obviously, last week we played a bunch of stuff at E3, but we've played a couple things in the interim. Alexa Ray, you've played Nintendo's latest release for Nintendo Switch, ARMS, their fighting game. So I have spent a little bit of time with this game, but let's talk about it. Tell me about your experience.
So I've been playing a lot of it with my roommate. There is local multiplayer, which I love, and there's also online. You can go into, similar to Mario Kart, go into the online queue and get paired up with a bunch of random people. And the whole shtick of ARMS is that you have arms that extend like a spring. They're like a giant coiled spring. And you use them to hit your opponent. And it's sort of like boxing over a long-range distance.
Yeah, so
And
it's third person for
third
people who haven't
person.
gotten to play this yet.
Christine?
You know, like those toys, like from when you're a kid, and
Yes.
like the plastic, like
It's
is
like
it
that.
like those punchy
Rock'em
boxers?
Sock'em Robots?
But like if they had slinkies
Yes.
for arms.
But yeah, but if they have long slinkies for arms, and the two things that sort of play into the strategy of ARMS is, one, you can equip different boxing gloves that have a effect on them. Like one character has a boxing glove that will freeze you in place for a few seconds so they can get in an extra hit. Or another one is has like an electric shock that can electrocute you. And if you manage to hit the other opponent with both of your arms at the same time, you pull them in, beat the crap out of them, and then you get like an extra point. And the thing to remember is when you're playing, whether you're playing on a Pro Controller or on the controller like this, or whether you're using the motion controls, which I'll get to in a second, is you can curve your punch. So you're not just punching straight. Let's say I start, like I'm playing against Andrea, and Andrea is in front of me, and I go to punch her and she moves. While my punch is in motion, I can curve it to hit her as she moves. So you can adapt to your opponent's moves, and it sort of adds a little more strategy to it. I really like playing with the Pro Controller. That's my favorite way to play. The motion controls take a lot of practice to get into, because you can go like this, but you also have to curve. So if you're punching someone and then you want to curve your shot, you actually have to curve your literal, actual human arm attached to your body that you're playing with in real life. So yeah. So like that. And then if you block, you have to you use the motion controls to make a cross, or if you want to go this way, you have to like move them with you. The motion controls are tough to get into, but I'm having a lot of fun. My arms, my human arms are very tired because I've been playing with the motion controls.
It's like the Wii Sports problem, right?
Yeah, but at first I was like, okay, this is a really silly looking fighting game with no bloodshed, aka a Nintendo game that has that just has a really beautiful art style. I really like it. I'm having a lot of fun with it.
It actually has a surprisingly deep amount of mechanical gameplay for a fighting game. What I found to be interesting was the people that I talked to from Nintendo Treehouse that had been playing this game for quite some time said your first instinct is going to be to play with the Pro Controller, which is definitely the easiest by far. I've played with all three input methods. But once you get really good, you're going to want the precision and refinement of the motion controls, because as Alexa was describing, imagine you're holding a Joy-Con in each of your hands, and let's say you're trying to do a hook with your left hand. You can punch your left hand straight forward and then hook it around afterwards.
Yep.
And it will, because of the time it takes for your arm in the game to get all the way to your opponent, you can then, curve it around, which is really interesting. It's really a game more about anticipation and strategy than a traditional fighting game is. You can't really button mash your way through this game. You can't. Because the way that the arms go out from your character is pretty slow.
It's slow. It's like maybe like 2 seconds. Like it takes some time. So if your opponent, you see them go straight for you, you just move. You just get out of the way. I really like it. I'm slowly getting better at the motion controls. Like I'm still garbage, but I have way more fun when it's me and my roommate standing there, like punching the air and punching each other in front of the screen. I really like, more so than the fighting mode. One of the multiplayer modes is like a basketball mode.
Oh, the dunk, the 3-point one?
Where you punch each other and then you can slam dunk each other through a basketball hoop.
You literally pick up the other character and you like slam them through the basketball hoop.
It's
amazing. That sounds fun.
It's a very, very fun game, and it's also just a really beautiful game to look at. Like the art, the art style is so good.
The characters in this game are very interesting, and they each kind of have their own individual perks. Like most fighting games, each character, there's like heavy characters, there's light characters, there's characters who have a lot of jumping mechanics, there's characters who have little sidekicks like bark and bite. There's like he's got like a little side dog who will punch you if you're not watching it. The dog itself will take you out. I
want a dog.
Yeah, well, the thing that's also interesting is not only do each of these characters have their own individual stats, each of the arms has their stats, and you can mix and match the arms with characters, and that really kind of deepens the level of strategy in this as a fighting game. Like a lot of people might look at this at first glance and go, oh, that has got nothing, like on Street Fighter or Tekken or Smash, but it's a completely different style of play, and that's what I think makes it really kind of innovative and certainly challenging for people who are used to maybe a more Twitch-based fighting game experience, because this is much more strategic.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Like after E3, I kind of needed something a little lighter to just kind of like pal around in as I decompressed the past couple days. But I noticed that you and Brittany played something way heavier.
Yeah. So I had never gotten a chance to play What Remains of Edith Finch. This is a small game from a studio called Giant Sparrow, and they don't really even call it a game. In the end credits, they even call it a story. This is at the heart like an adventure game where you play a protagonist who we have to assume is Edith, who is walking through her old house, and each of the rooms kind of holds a story of one of her family members. So the Finch family came to America because they were trying to escape a family curse. But the curse followed them here and continued to claim the lives of almost all of the family members of the Finch family.
Yikes.
You can't outrun a curse.
No, you don't. They tried, though. They really did. And I didn't really know much about this game.
A+ for effort.
The first time I saw this game, I saw the demo where you are a cat, and then you turn into an owl, and then you turn into a shark. And what's interesting about this...
Yeah, what? Back up.
Yeah,
what?
So you hear the story of one of the characters in the game, one of the Finches named Molly, who's like a young girl, I think the age of 10. And she talks about being so hungry. She got sent to bed without dinner because she had misbehaved or something. And she wakes up in the middle of the night, and her mom has like locked her in her room as punishment, which is like, whoa, Mom, don't lock your kids in the room. But she tries to get out to get food, and her mom's like, just go to sleep, you'll be fine. Which, if you think about it, is like, yeah, she would be fine if she just went to bed and woke up in the morning. She gets breakfast. But it leads into this whole story about her being so hungry that she's on this quest to go eat whatever she can. And I don't know if it's like a hallucination or what's happening, but she gets out of the window in her room, and then she's like, suddenly I was a cat, and you're like climbing through this tree as a cat trying to chase a bird down to eat it, and then you jump from the tree as a cat and you turn into an owl, and then you have to like swoop down and pick up a rabbit. You eat the rabbit, and then you suddenly become a shark, and you're like rolling down a hill as a shark.
Wait.
You're
a land
out
shark.
of the water?
Well, you eventually get to the water, and then you have to like chase down a seal inside the water, and you're eating it because you have this insatiable hunger. You just keep eating things.
But it
was funny.
You turn into a shark midair. Like, I need to know, how does this
happen?
Midair. Brittany, what were you gonna say?
I was going to say it was funny because, you turn from an owl into a shark, and the game kind of bugged for me, and I became wedged between two trees. And so I had to mash my buttons to and my shark was like flopping around, like trying to like wedge itself in between the trees. So I was a literal land shark for about 5 minutes while I was like trying to find the right combo to slither my shark between the trees.
Amazing.
It was great.
Yeah, I had a weird glitch where I couldn't pick up the rabbits during the owl section, and I had to restart my game because I was flying around trying to pick up the rabbit, and I just couldn't do it. But that's just one unique mini game, so to speak, inside all of these experiences. So each different member of the Finch family has a unique set of gameplay mechanics attached to their story. And some are very short. Some are just like you open a book and you read a note and then that's it. Some of them are as involved as there was one family member, Lewis Finch, which was particularly memorable for me. He worked at a cannery, which is essentially like a fish chopping plant. Where he, worked on a conveyor belt where he would chop the heads off the fish and then throw the body into like a bucket or whatever. And he, went through some substance abuse issues, which they talk about in the game. And on his road to sobriety, he decided to retreat into his imagination. And he came so far into his imagination that he eventually lost himself in his imagination and ended up killing himself. And it's just it's a weird game because it's all of the themes end up being really whimsical at the beginning and then getting really dark at the end. And it was very unexpected in that way. Britt, how did you feel? What were your kind of emotional reactions to this game?
So I went into this game not knowing anything. It's been on my radar for a long time. And when I saw, Andrea, that you were going to talk about it, I said, okay, I need to play this because I want to experience it knowing nothing. So I finished it maybe just 6 hours ago.
It's very short, by the way, for people who are interested. Probably 2 hours at tops.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like you said, it was interesting because the whole theme is death and how these family members died, and you live as those family members as they die because the whole premise is you're trying to learn the stories of your extended family. And it tackles some really deep stuff like suicide, substance abuse. There's a death of a baby. But they do it in a very tasteful manner. There are some really clever mechanics like the one you were talking about, Andrea, like the cannery. how you experience Lewis losing himself to his imagination. So you're multitasking. On one hand, you're chopping the heads off of salmon. On the other hand, I played on PC, you're in his imagination, and his imagination is that he's in an RPG, he's in a labyrinth, and then it turns into this full-fledged like kingdom. And so one hand you're handling his imagination, on the other hand you're chopping the heads off of fish. And so it's really dark and twisted, but so cleverly done. And I don't want to talk about it too much more because I don't want to spoil it for anyone. But 2 hours, and I think it's totally worth your time.
Yeah, and it's not a spoiler to talk about the family members dying, because at the very beginning of the game you get a book and you can see the kind of tombstone dates for each individual family member. And what's interesting about that is that when you look at each of them, you can see how old they were when each of them died. And it really is quite a range from, like a young, like infant / toddler all the way up to like a great grandparent and kind of everything in between. And each different member of the family has a very unique story, a unique set of gameplay to kind of talk about, like, how did the Finch curse affect this person in the family and what way it did. It was, and you don't really know what Edith's role is and how the curse has affected her. And I mean, you kind of find out sort of at the end, which obviously, I won't talk about, but it's unlike any kind of interactive storytelling experience or video game that I've ever played before, and I really have to give them a hats off for a fantastic job, well done. Narratively, it's really excellently executed, and the graphics are kind of like this really awesome, like, watercolor third-person perspective. And it reminded me a little bit of the art style of Life is Strange, especially after having played that semi-recently. And it had very light climbing mechanics, but each of the individual stories was so unique. It just really resonated with me in a way that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, there are a lot of family members in here, and a lot of them have very unique stories, and you probably will resonate with at least one of them. I did, and I cried. So if you liked, they're not similar, but not super similar, but if you liked Gone Home, I think you would really enjoy this. There's a lot of gathering of data. Like, here, I took a whole bunch of notes when I played. You probably can't see.
Old school gamer.
There's a lot of shit. There's a lot of shit to keep track of, and I want to like dig in and like know what's what. So anyway, I'll stop it at that.
Well, and after you finish the game, you can go back and replay individual stories. So if you feel like there's something that you missed or something you wanted to explore a little bit further, you can certainly do that. So
I'm gonna have to check it out. I've heard of it, but I haven't.
That sounds really cool.
I haven't had time, but maybe I should make time.
Yeah, well, and what's great about it is that it's not a long commitment. It's a very short game, but very impactful, and I hope they get nominated for a bunch of awards later this year. I certainly was pleasantly surprised and happy to tell everyone that I can heartily recommend this awesome title. So, so yeah, that's what Brett and I played this week. Steimer was busy, didn't get to play anything.
So here's what happened for me, but also I want to rewind a little bit and go back to ARMS, because I want to say, Alexa, be very careful with motion controls, especially when you are punching.
Oh, I know.
Because a lot of people will, like, throw their shoulders out and stuff. Like, people get too into it. So if you're playing this game at all with motion controls, do not overextend your arm. That is not how you punch people in real life.
As the most physically injured person
actually,
in this
you
group.
actually have fought people. You fought people.
I did. I used to fight people in college. As the most physically injured person in this group, that's a secret segment story. We're not talking about that here. Okay. But as the most injured person in this group, I have been very careful. I started physical therapy recently, and that's been very helpful. But I'm very careful. I use the straps.
Good.
I'm doing good. I'm doing okay. I favor this arm anyway because this one's the borked one. Story for another day. But
as a reminder, if you would like to listen to our secret segment, patreon.com/whatsgoodgames.
Yeah,
that is a tier.
Yeah,
do it.
Okay, so what I was doing
Steimer,
this week,
you were going to say,
is I was looking all over this freaking town for a Nintendo Switch.
That's a game?
And I could not find one.
Are you still having trouble getting a Switch? I'll have to keep an eye out.
Yeah.
This seems to be a thing. So, lots of people, it's not just you, many people around the country are having trouble finding Switches.
And then I was looking online because somebody was like, it's Apple's fault. And I was like, what?
Why would
what
it
is
be
that?
Apple?
So
What?
I looked online, and basically the theory behind why there are not very many Switches out there is because Apple is hogging all of the production of a certain type of chip that Nintendo uses to produce the Switch. So, like, theoretically, Apple's up here, like, gobbling it all up, and then Nintendo's down here on the priority list. And so they kind of just get what they could take. I don't know if that's true. That's just, like, again,
have you met
rumors.
Nintendo? This is kind of what they do. This is just
I know,
kind
right?
of their thing.
That, for me, I was like, I kind of don't believe. I think it's just Nintendo being Nintendo. But that is the news story that is going around. And so yeah, I've been calling friggin' every retailer around, Targets, Best Buys, whatever. Everyone just literally goes, we don't know. They just show up one morning. Like, they have no plan. They have no way to even tell me. I'm like, is it usually a Tuesday? Is it once a week? Is it twice? Like, what, once every 2 weeks? What's the deal here? And no one can give me an answer. So what I've ended up doing is, my friend Colin was like, you can just borrow mine. So I'm going to use his.
Thanks, Colin.
But I'm still going to thanks, Colin, because he's not using it. So I may as well get a Switch. But I was like, it was so annoying. I was just driving forever trying to play a video game.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Steimer. We will make sure to keep an eye out up here in the Bay Area. If I see a Switch, I will snatch it up for you and say, that's for Steimer. You can't have it. I'll fight you.
Also, like, Nintendo
just
people.
like elbow people.
I know you listen to this podcast. Hook a girl up.
Yeah, help us out.
That would
hook
work
a girl.
too.
Hook girls up those neon Joy-Cons.
I was willing to pay you.
Alexa's like, I have.
I do. They're very bright.
Okay, well, next week we'll have more games to talk about in our hands-on section because I am very much looking forward to trying out Friday the 13th finally. So hopefully we'll be able to talk about that on next week's show. For now, that is the end of our hands-on segment 2 of this show. We're going to take a really quick break, and then we'll be right back with the grab bag. Done this segment, and it's true for in a couple of weeks because of E3. But this week, we decided to talk about our summer pile of shame. Oops. We all have one. We're all guilty. I have to, Britt, I'm sorry. I have to call you out. She did not know what a pile of shame was.
Girl.
But she had one, yes? You just didn't know?
She's got a lot.
I guarantee my pile of shame is 10 times larger than any pile of shame anyone has on this podcast. I'm a collector.
Okay, if you wanted to get a contest.
When you say pile of shame, are you talking about recent, or are you talking about like as far back as we can?
No, not lifetime pile of shame. That would be gigantic.
Lifetime pile of shame is very
I'm talking about
big.
like, let's put a definitive timeline on it. Since the beginning of 2017, what are the games that have come out this year that you're like, dang it, Jim, I haven't been able to get around to playing that game yet, but I really want to, and I'm hopefully going to have time this summer when the release season slows down, but it's not really slowing down. There's a lot of good games coming out this summer.
I actually think I've done pretty okay this year.
Yeah?
Like, there's nothing from this year
screw you.
that I really wanted. But there's stuff from like I haven't played Final Fantasy. Like, I would like to play that. So, but it's not this year.
Well, I mean, technically it was like late November, right? So early December.
Yeah, late November,
That'll
but
be
that's
fine.
slightly forgivable because Final Fantasy is a commitment, my dear.
Oh yeah. The only reason I was able.
Let's see. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Bridget.
No, I was going to say the only reason I was able to finish it when I did was because I was sick after PlayStation Experience. So I had a week and a half to do nothing but play Final Fantasy 15. Otherwise, it never would have happened. That's all I was going to say.
I went from like open world to open world to open world. Or not open world, but like all long games basically were the beginning of this year. So I'm not afraid of commitment. It was more...
There's too many.
What happened was a friend was supposed to give me her copy, and she still hasn't.
What a bitch!
So that's why I haven't played it.
Hey, unnamed friend, give Steimer back her copy.
No, it's not my copy. She's letting me borrow hers.
Give it to her,
She's
damn it.
Bitch.
She has a show.
She's a very
to do.
kind friend.
Maybe she's playing the game she wants to play.
I'm feeling
She is
sassy
playing the game.
right now.
She'll give it to... She'll give...
You gave me this wine. It's your fault.
It's definitely my fault. So I think I'm glad you touched on that. There are too many open world games this console generation. I'm just going to say that right now as a definitive statement. Developers out there, if you listen to this podcast, know that it is okay to not make your game open world. Not everything needs to be open world. It's totally okay.
I agree with you.
Terrible.
You know, a nice Wolfenstein experience, some corridors, some linear narrative levels. That's all right. We like those too.
It's great.
Some hallways?
Yeah. You can mix and match them so that you're not going from open world to open world to open world and feeling really fatigued. Then you can kind of mix it up with a nice linear experience like you were talking about, and then have a little palate cleanser, and then like a 2-hour Edith Finch sort of session, and then go back into an open world.
Yep. This is the reason I keep bouncing between Persona 5 and Breath of the Wild, because I get stuck in one and I go, I just have to do something. I just need a directive. And then I get into Persona 5 and I'm like, oh God, I have to do laundry and there's so many things to do. I'm going to go back to Breath of the Wild. Oh, I'm stuck in another Divine Beast. Fucking forget it. And I just keep going back and forth from like high school, like fucked up sim to like Breath of the Wild. Oh my God. I should be saving the world, but instead I'm like dicking around with the Gerudos. Like it's just been,
you are.
Sorry. I'm not close to finishing either, and I love them both. But like, I agree with you. This has been like the spring of open worlds.
It's
been
many.
A little crazy.
Yeah, this is why I haven't started Zelda yet. I wanted to make sure that I finished Horizon Zero Dawn first, and that I finished Mass Effect Andromeda first. So, check mark. Both of those are done. You're holding your hands over your face because you haven't finished one or both of those games. Both? Is it both?
I haven't started Horizon.
You haven't started Horizon
I
yet?
haven't even booted it up. That's my shame.
Oh, no.
I haven't even booted it up.
Neither have I.
Ring the fucking bell. I haven't even started yet.
Ding.
I haven't either. It's okay, Alexa. That was my main one too.
But you are so on top of things.
No, but
I'm playing Persona. Go ahead.
No. You go ahead.
Oh, yes, ma'am. So I'm playing Persona 5. I have about 110 hours into that.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm also playing Zelda Breath of the Wild, probably about 90 hours into that. I played Mass Effect Andromeda. Like Andrea was saying, a lot of the games I've been playing have been like these huge open world games, and I'm not even probably halfway done with Zelda yet. I'm about to wrap up Persona 5. I want to hop into Horizon, but my fucking God, I can't keep up. I need more hours. Give me more hours.
So I did lie. Zelda I also haven't played. And I do want to play it. And that's why I was trying to find a Switch.
Without a Switch.
I was trying to find a Switch to play Zelda. But anyways, I'll get one eventually.
Well, another open world game I would really like to spend more time in that, Britt, I know you've spent some time in, is Ghost Recon Wildlands. So this is one of the top selling games of 2017 so far.
It was fun.
And the time that I have spent in it has been fun. It's obviously a very challenging game, because it's strategic and it's stealth and you have to be good at shooting and things like that. But so many people are having such a great experience with this game that I really want to spend more time in it. But it's so hard to give commitment to a game that I'm like, okay, well, it's best played co-op. Who can I find? When can we arrange the right time to play? You want to play Ghost Recon Wildlands?
Girl, I don't do anything during the day.
We can play it on the stream.
Let's just play Ghost Recon.
Okay, I thought you weren't into shooters.
I should be.
Yeah, Let's should.
Do it.
You should
I'm
try
into it. Let's do it.
Okay.
It's fun. And then you can drive and like go apeshit and fall off mountains or crash helicopters.
I'm good at falling off mountains, so
be a phenomenal game for the four of us to play. We would have way too much fun with it, and it would be glorious. I would recommend it.
Okay.
Yes, I have the game. We should totally do this.
Yeah.
Well, we will make it a thing. Another game that's on my pile of shame that I haven't spent nearly enough time with is For Honor. So this is a game I was super excited about last year, when I got to see it at E3 and got to see it at a couple other shows. I was really pumped about the class system that they had, and there were really unique factions that they have in the game, and I like that it was kind of like this medieval throwback. And I only spent a couple hours with it, and I haven't gone back to it yet, and I really want to go and finish the campaign. PvP might be, I think I'm a little too far gone to really get into PvP. At this point, the people who are still playing PvP would probably crush me.
I love that PvP.
So I don't know if getting into that makes the most amount of sense, but I definitely want to go back and finish the campaign because I heard really great things about that as well. Sorry, there's
the other game. The other game I need to get back into is Yakuza 0.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so good. I'm irritated because I put like 40 hours into it, and then Resident Evil 7 I got my review copy for Resident Evil 7, or something happened that pulled me away, and now it's been months, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to go back into it, but it was so good, and I still have so many more hours to put into it. That's another one of my games.
There's so much crazy gameplay in Yakuza.
Oh, it's so good.
Brilliant.
I love that it's
when did that game come out?
January?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it came out really early this year.
This year needs to stop with the games.
It's a good problem to have.
Stop with the games.
Collaborate and listen.
Pause.
Ice is back with the brand new invention.
Well, like, it's not going to slow down. We have, like, some major thing coming out in July, and then August is Uncharted, and then September is something, and then we have Mario coming out. Like,
isn't there something else coming out in August besides Lost Legacy? Oh, I guess
Splatoon 2 is coming
Mario
out.
Rabbids
Pushed to October, but
Splatoon's coming out.
Hold
on, I have like
we got
Splatoon
Crash Bandicoot, the Insane Trilogy is coming out next week.
Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah,
we have.
That's true.
I have all of the games.
But I'm not going to play all of Crash Bandicoot. I'll play like a little bit of it. This is the other thing that I like to do. I like to just let myself off the hook with certain things. You know what? It's totally fine that I'm not going to finish Crash Bandicoot.
No, it's not.
It doesn't matter. Just go in, like, play it for a few hours. That is fine. And that's kind of why I disregarded my OG pile of shame that I had, because I was just like, you know what? It's fine. It's fine that I'm not playing these. Just move forward. At some point, you can't play everything.
Totally. I mean, and this is something that I was asked on, it was a question from one of the viewers on the Kind of Funny Games Daily Show. They asked, and maybe you ladies can answer this question, when multiple games come out at the same time, what kind of method or how do you pick and choose which games you play first? Do you play just a few hours of one of each of them? Do you devote all of your time to one and go through them methodically? Do you have a method or a system?
I hate juggling video games. It's something I'm doing right now, and I hate doing it because what happens is a game will grab my attention more than the other one, and then I'll just dive into that one, and I'll leave the other one in the dust, like what happened with Yakuza, and I haven't touched it now in probably like 3 or 4 months. For me, it's always what am I most excited about, right? So when Resident Evil 7 came out, I dropped Yakuza like a hot bag of shit. No, that's bad. It's not a hot bag of shit. It's a great game. That's a bad reference.
Something only a dog could truly understand.
Yep. So for me, it's all about what am I most enthusiastic about.
I'm a similar way, Britt. I go for like what am I most excited about, and then also what do I want spoiled the least. Like, what if something is I think will be heavily spoiled, I usually try to get to that first.
That's true.
Yeah. Alexa?
I mean, if I go straight for if in the smorgasbord of offerings there's like a Japanese role-playing game or like a thing that is like the thing in my wheelhouse, like I'll go play that first, and then I'll get to everything else based on how short it is.
Or how many husbands you can have.
Or how many husbandos I can have, like stuff like that. I'm juggling between I haven't even started Horizon, but between trying to finish Persona 5 and Breath of the Wild, I am also still working my way through Fire Emblem Echoes. So I have 3 very long games that I'm trying to get through right now. And it's like a little bit of a nightmare. I don't know how I ended up here. Please help.
That sounds terrible.
I'm drowning.
Help.
Andrea.
Yeah, you touched on shortness, Alexa. That's another thing that I will also use as criteria. So for instance, I think there at one point like a Tomb Raider had come out, and then there was an RPG, like a longer game. And so I went for Tomb Raider first to try and like get it out of the way, and then enjoy the longer game.
Yeah.
With less stress.
I remember that, Steimer. You and I were talking about that. What RPG was that?
I don't remember.
Because I remember I chastised you for I remember I was mad at you for choosing Tomb Raider. But anyway, we can figure that out another time.
I don't remember what it was, but something.
Andrea, what is your criteria?
Oh, my criteria is, it's very similar to what all of you ladies said. So first and foremost, if it's a franchise, an IP, a character, or a studio that I have a particular affection for, I'll probably gravitate to that one first because it's probably the one I'm the most enthusiastic about. Then I'll look at the length of the game. Is it a 5 to 10 hour experience? Is it a 10 to 20 hour experience? Is it like a 50 to 75 hour experience or longer? If it's short, I'll knock it out, get it done, get to the end. And most of the time, and I have no shame in saying this, I will play through a game on very easy or easy mode the first time I play it.
Oh, yeah.
There's no shame in that.
There's just too many games to play, and I don't need the challenge the first time I play it. If I go back and play, like, for example, Mass Effect 2 for the 5th time, then I can put it on, like, the most extreme difficulty mode and go through and really challenge myself. But for the first time, I really need to see the story. I need to see the graphics. I need to get a look at the mechanics and kind of see how it plays. And so that really helps kind of cut down on the gameplay time. When I played Prey, for example, a game that the three of you still have not played, right?
Nope.
Add that to your pile. It's great. You should play it. I had to even playing that on very easy, like, it still was really hard. And I'm not ashamed to admit that because a lot of other people have come forward and said, yeah, that was just a hard game. But I think that helps cut down on how much time you're maybe wasting going through levels and maybe not understanding, like, what kind of guns you're supposed to be using, if there's a specific loadout or powers or whatever. And then after I've kind of done those criteria, what's kind of left is maybe what's the most important thing that people are discussing. Is there a game that maybe I'm hesitant to play, but that our peers are talking about, that the community is talking about, that people on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube are super pumped and thrilled about, that are like, hey, have you tried this thing out yet? And then I'll be like, I don't know. But then because everyone else is so jazzed about it, I'll like add it to the list and be like, okay, I'll try that out.
Mm-hmm.
So has there been a game the three of you were like, I did not want to play, but you decided to try just because everyone was like, this is amazing, you have to try it? Can you think of something?
I don't usually do that. Like when you were like, add Prey to your pile of shame, I was like, no, it's not a game that really appeals to me. And I'm okay with saying no.
You're like, no, fuck you, Prey.
No, I mean... I'll put
it that. I'm just like, of the things coming out, I would rather play Wolfenstein.
Well, Wolfenstein's not coming out until like October.
I know it's not coming out for a while, but I have other things to do. I don't need to spend my time playing a game I'm not that excited about.
No, that's fair. And that's kind of how I am too. Like if, Prey, it's now on my radar. It's in the very, very back of my radar, but it's there because I have very limited time. And so I prioritize that for things that I know I would enjoy, like Horizon. So, yeah.
I did this a long time ago with Titanfall. I didn't want to play it because it was a shooter, and everyone was raving about it, so I tried it, and it was good. That's fine.
It was good.
I have to ask, though, since we're talking about pile of shame, going back into your, like, deep, dark past, is there a game that, like, people rave about or that has become, like, a cult phenomenon that you have never touched? That you're like, one day I will get to it? Yeah, I know about you and your Zelda things, Steimer. We know about this.
Yeah, I've touched it briefly. That is Chrono Trigger. I've never finished it. I know. I know.
You?
I know. I try.
I mean, I haven't played that game either, but you would expect that.
No. But I
you have no excuse, my dear. Chrono Trigger.
I know. So several years ago, I downloaded it when the Wii was hopping. I downloaded it on the Wii's Virtual Console.
When was that? The Wii was hopping.
And I started playing it, but then it got to the point where I learned that other party members who weren't in my immediate group needed manual leveling up, and I'm like, I don't have time for this, and I backed away. Okay. And I regret it.
That's fair.
But it is a game. It's probably the number one on my pile of shame.
So Andrea? I have to ask you.
That's fair.
Well, okay, yes, I'll save my question. There's quite frankly, there's a lot.
What's the worst offender?
Well, I've already told you I've never played Final Fantasy outside of Final Fantasy 15.
I know, but we're going to fix that.
Maybe another really bad offender is Metal Gear.
Same.
I dipped my toe into Metal Gear 5, and that was it.
Same.
Hated it. Got out, was like, I made the right decision all these years.
Okay.
You gave right.
Yeah,
that
was kind of me too, Andrea.
Because I thought about it, and like I'm giving you a pass on both Final Fantasy and Metal Gear. One, because I care deeply about you as a friend, and two, because those are just really like meaty, like really deep, involved, complex series and storylines. Final Fantasy is not connected, so you could pick up any which one that struck your fancy, but Metal Gear is all connected, and it's just so complex and convoluted. Like, I can understand why jumping in late, you feel like you've missed so much, so it's hard to go back and play that first one and get in. Like, that's... And then you just feel like, well, there's too much here. I might as well just not even start. Like, I get that. I get it.
The stealth mechanics are incredibly infuriating in that game.
Yeah, it's bad.
I bought Metal Gear Solid 5 when it first released. When was that? Like 2010, 2000, a long time ago. Still in the shrink wrap. So, yeah.
Maybe if you still have it hanging around, we can give it away to somebody and be like, hey, this is the game that Brittany never
enjoyed. This game we
didn't
like.
Enjoy.
Nope.
Steimer, what's yours? Do you have one?
She said Zelda.
Oh, I've already said it 1,000 times.
I thought we've already talked about Zelda. Is there another
she
one?
was like,
I know. That's why I'm done. Like that's the main game of shame for me. Like, but you also like I Metal Gear Solid did almost the exact same thing as you, Andrea. I hadn't played one. I played a little bit of 5, and then was like, meh. Don't really care about this man on fire. I don't even know what he is. What's going on?
When I saw him hiding in a box, I was like, what is this game? What's going on?
No, I like the sexy lady box.
Making a box.
The sexy lady box is my favorite box because I'm like, how stupid are these soldiers that are believing that a box is a real lady on a military base who appeared out of nowhere?
Fly sheeps out. I'm like, I don't know what's happening in that game.
I love fultoning sheep.
But the dog is really cute.
The dog is the best.
The dog is
best dog.
So cute.
Alexa Ray.
What about you, Alexa?
I never played Beyond Good and Evil.
Oh, come on. That's a lame answer. No, a lot of people haven't played that.
When I tell people that, they look at me like I've never seen Star Wars.
No, that's not even comparable. These
Have
people
you seen
are
Star
weird.
Wars?
They should not judge you that harshly. Beyond Good and Evil is a
These
small
people are
title
weird.
Okay.
that you might not have heard or known about. We're talking like big franchise, multi-installment, been around for at least 5 to 10 years, if not longer.
Well, I've never played a Halo game. I don't think anyone cares.
That's huge.
Okay, oh, that's good. That's good.
I watched my brother play them.
That doesn't count.
No. I never played Halo. I didn't play Beyond Good and Evil. Multi-franchise game.
Halo's a good answer.
Yeah.
It's Halo.
Halo's a great answer.
Yeah.
It's disappointing because
I've
I feel
played
like
Halo.
there have been some really fantastic Halos that you might enjoy and we could play co-op together.
Yes.
Cool. I saw Red versus Blue, though. Does that count?
I mean, Red versus Blue is awesome. We love our Rooster Teeth friends. But that does not count.
Damn it. That's not what
related.
Halo's like. Damn it.
There's nothing like what Halo is like, even though that show is funny.
You can marathon the Halo games easily in like one day, like a day and a half.
Yeah, they're
so we
pretty
could
short.
easily do that. That would be fun. Yeah.
Drunk Halo
like an all-day stream or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be cool. Before we end this segment, Brittany, I have to ask. In our hands-on section, you had listed that you tried Minecraft. Was this in your pile of shame and you were like, pile of shame no more? I'm going to try Minecraft.
Yeah, curiosity. So I guess this is one I should have answered correctly when I think it was you who asked, Andrea. Has there ever been a game where people have talked about how great it is and you're like, fine, I'll freaking jump on that bandwagon and try it? Minecraft is that game for me because everyone that I've talked to who has played it raves about it. They say it's a phenomenal cooperative experience. So my fiance and I, Jason, have been jumping between like Ghost Recon Wildlands and other shooters, but we kind of wanted something like post E3 to unwind with, and so we tried the Minecrafts. And there's a lot to this game, a lot more than I ever anticipated. I think it's kind of starting to click. I may be 25% like getting it. There's a lot. But it's cathartic. It's fun to explore, fun to build things and kill things, and it's quirky and it doesn't take itself seriously. So it's a great relaxation game.
What's interesting is that a lot of people, I mean, and I also have only dabbled very, very minorly in Minecraft, a few hours in a game that you could easily dump thousands of hours into. We had the team from Minecraft come by the Facebook Live stage at E3 and talk to us about some of the changes that they're making, the unification they're doing across the platforms, and of course they had somebody who runs a custom PvP server in Minecraft. And I think that's really where the platform shines, is that they've taken a game and really given it to the hands of the creators and allowed them to kind of let their imaginations run wild. These PvP servers include like mini games and fully fleshed out maps and game modes and things that are all from the minds and the imaginations of people who just love to play this game. And it's something that I have a lot of respect for and think is a really incredible phenomena in the history of video games at large. But I don't... something about it just hasn't ever like really drawn me in. And now that you're trying it, maybe I'll revisit. What do you think, girl? Should we revisit this?
Let's do it. Minecraft stream. In.
Yes, Minecraft is fun. I have enjoyed Minecraft in the past.
Let's do it.
Okay, cool. Well, listen, that'll be the end of this segment. We are going to come back for our final segment of the evening. It is Off Topic. It's back, and we're talking Wonder Woman. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Sorry for the delay. We were actually planning to talk about this earlier, but then E3 got in the way. Dang it, E3.
Dang.
Wonder Woman, a feature film from DC Comics, is out and doing fantastically. It's getting rave reviews. It stars Gal Gadot, I think is how you say her name. I feel like I've been saying her name wrong every time I say it.
Gal
Gadot?
No, it's not Gadot. She's Israeli.
It's not Gadot.
Yeah. No, it's not Gadot.
I don't know how you say it.
I think it's Gadot.
But she's pretty. She's real pretty.
She is so, like, just strong looking and muscular and amazing and dang.
So she was in the Israeli army, so.
Yeah, for real. She's great.
So Wonder Woman, we went and saw this together the last time we recorded. It was a fun experience. We went to a movie at 9:50 in the morning.
We did.
With a thermos of mimosas, like adults.
Oh, so good.
Shandon.
It was amazing.
We had whiskey also, Andrea.
Yes, a flask of whiskey. I mean, because every responsible adult goes to a 10 a.m. movie with alcohol in their purse.
I hope they're not listening.
It was actually a pretty fun way to go see the movie. It was great because I distinctly remember the scene where Chris Pine, that's his name, right? Chris Pine?
Chris Pine.
Yeah.
Was
Dreamy
fully
McDreamy
nude
face.
in one scene. He had his hand over his bits. And we
That
were all
real
like,
good.
oh my God, he's naked.
I don't think I've ever
a 10 out of 10 scene. I'd actually forgotten about that until you just brought it up.
I've never heard anyone actually out loud call them bits before.
Bits.
That was
bits.
good.
I just say peen.
Any better.
That's a good one.
So he was definitely not the star of this movie. Undoubtedly. Without question, Gail was the star of this movie, or Gal, excuse me. And like, I really, really enjoyed it, but I didn't think it was over the top fantastic. I think I'm the one person maybe on this crew that was like, I thought it was great, but it wasn't like, oh my God, my life was changed by Wonder Woman.
I think it was just like, it was actually finally a good DC movie, and so everybody was like, blah.
The bar was just set so low that any kind of...
Yeah. I mean, the last few DC movies have been pretty crap, so...
Yeah.
It's not... But, and this was like a coherent movie, like, you know, had a good plot. She was the star, like, Chris Pine very much played a sub-role to her, so... all of these things combined, and just like where we are politically and everything, which we're not talking about, but like I just think it was primed to do well, considering that it is a quality movie.
Right.
Yeah,
I
agree.
I got a little teary once, and that was when she came. Like, you get the first. I'm not going to spoil it, but you get the first full look at her in her armor, and she's walking, and it's just a full focus on her. And I, like, don't read comic books, and I'm not really into, like, DC or anything, but I'm, like, familiar with the Wonder Woman mythos, and I'm going to totally play, like, the feminism card here, and it's just been a really long time since I've seen, like, a movie or a show that had a strong female lead that made me think, like, yeah, I'm going to be super badass, too, and just having that moment and then everything that followed in that moment made me just feel like, this is amazing, and I need to, like, go to the gym right now, and, like, I'm just like this is just great. Like, I felt
it made me want to fight people.
Right, it made me want to fight people, and it was a combination of the imagery and like the sound. Like, that soundtrack was just like absolutely phenomenal, and it just sort of like, that's why we play games, that's why we watch movies, that's why we read books. We find moments and things that inspire us, and I watched that, and I was just like, I have to clear my schedule and like get to the gym and start punching people again. Like, this is amazing.
I agree that there were a couple of moments, and, you know, I kind of came out of it a little bit more meh than I wanted to, but there were a few moments, particularly in the beginning of the film, where they were focusing, you know, on these amazing Amazonian women in the Mascara, where I got a little choked up. Robin Wright Penn's character, oh my God, was so inspiring.
She's great.
And I wish she had been in more of the film, and just like seeing her and seeing how badass she is, because I feel like she's badass in every role that she plays. And really seeing these women who've devoted their lives to being in their top physical condition, and not only physical condition, but, you know, like mental awareness and their sharpness and their ability to read situations, and really just taking no shit from anybody in a way that was really inspiring and kind of struck a chord with me. You know, we don't talk a lot about representation of women in media in the show, but I think that this film represented a lot of things to a lot of women out there. Yeah. Brittany, did you get any stirrings when you were watching this movie?
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt Alexa, but that was the same moment, the one moment in the film that choked me up a little bit also. And I'm not, admittedly, I know nothing about Wonder Woman. I know nothing about comics, but watching that scene, it was, again, her full garb, the music, the bullet spraying everywhere, just that look of like sheer determination on her face. I was like, oh my God. And I looked over at you, Alexa, and you had you were like this. You had your hands over your mouth, and I was like, yeah, she's feeling it too. That was a really great moment as well. The one thing that I've heard, and not to be salty Steimer, not a lot, but I've heard women complain about the fact that they're upset that it took until the death of whatever his name is.
Spoilers.
That's okay.
Wait, I'm sorry, I completely forgot.
That's okay.
I'm
just yelling spoilers, but that's okay. You continue.
That was a spoiler. We might want to edit that out. Well, that was a major spoiler.
Well, we can also like put a disclaimer in the thing, being like, "Hey, like we spoil it a little bit." So continue.
Yeah.
Okay. That it took until his death until she fully realized her power. And people are like, of course, it took a man to make her boa. So I wanted to hear your guys' thoughts on that.
So I sort of saw that as like, I didn't think of it that way, but I did read all the criticism, and I was like, oh, I guess that maybe that was what they meant. But he was the first person from the outside world that she encountered. And when she went into the outside world with him, she met like a bunch of kind of really crappy people, but he remained constantly good. So to me, I saw it as like, so the loss of the first, like the one person from the outside world, the one good person that she knew, his loss kind of drove her to go into a rage because she saw the good in the world and she believed that what she was fighting for was to end the thing that was controlling the good people. So to have that first person gone was sort of like a shock to her. But I did read all the criticism after, and I did see that stuff, and I was like, oh. But I did appreciate that any sort of like romance between them was really understated. It wasn't like a big like song and dance sex number. It was a very much understated like, and these two people are attracted to each other. And then the movie moved on with it and didn't dwell on it, and they weren't like holding hands or petting each other on the battlefield or whatever the hell like people do in other movies or whatnot. So yeah,
petting each other on
I
the
don't think it was
petting
his
each other
death.
on the battlefield, like in Fire Emblem, you know.
The more I'm thinking about it now, I think it's more of, because you were saying, Alexa, I don't think you're correct in this, and you were saying he's good throughout the whole movie. He's not. And like there are certain points where he kind of makes decisions that are, like, you know, he's like talking down to her or kind of being like, no, just know your role, basically. Like, just go along with this. Stop trying to make everything good. We're not all good here. I think it was the moment where she realized that there was good in him and there was good in this world and that she was right. And it was sort of like a reaffirmation of what she had believed in that kind of snapped or triggered her into full-on beast mode is what I like to call it. Anyways, so I don't think it was like, oh, my boyfriend died. I think it was, oh my god, this person, somebody has made a non-selfish act here. Therefore, there is something worth saving on this planet.
Okay. Yeah, well, I also think that, you know, that whole sequence of, you know, what happened with his character felt really rushed in a way. Like, it almost didn't feel real. You know, and a lot of times in these superhero movies, characters come and go and you kind of like think they may be injured or maybe they've been killed, but really they haven't. And so it was hard for me to understand, like, oh, is he actually gone? Is he still around? Is he going to come back? Just one
He's
of
in
the
1,000 bits over the sea.
Bro, right, but like, I mean, it's a superhero movie. Crazier shit has happened, you know?
Correct.
So like,
But he's not a superhero.
right, but like, I mean, people get saved for, you know, for less things or for bigger things. I don't know. Part of me just didn't really glob onto that. Another part of the movie I just had such a hard time accepting was the character who ultimately became Ares. Like, I know we've already spoiled some things, but I won't say who it was in case you haven't seen the movie yet. But so this character who you discover is Ares because, you know, we learn throughout the whole film that that's why these women are training, because Ares, the god of war, is going to come back and they need to be prepared. He's going to invade the Mascara. And Zeus has hidden them for their protection, and now they have to come back and save mankind. And we get to see Ares, and he just didn't feel like powerful enough. He just kind of was like, I'm Ares. I've got a cool helmet. But that's about it.
I thought he was
that the
cool.
only one who felt that way?
The way he was like pulling things, he like basically just made this armor out of scrap metal. I was like, oh dear, she is in trouble. Like, I was just like, him himself is not very.
No, that's what I'm saying.
So
like the character that the person they cast for this role, I was like, what? Head scratcher.
But I liked that.
Yeah, I liked that too because it was understated. Because you're thinking you're going to go against Ares, and it's either going to be this middle-aged man, like the guy that she pegs as Ares throughout the entire movie is a very large man, and so you think, okay, large man, you are also the large bad guy, and then you get to the end. And it's this like,
and it's not.
And it's not, and he's small and like weird looking, and like he's not what you would think of the powerful guy being. But that's sort of the point. Like Ares hid, so to have him come out of nowhere and be like, "I've been this like little guy pulling all the strings behind the scenes," is actually way more effective, at least for me, from a narrative standpoint, than like, here's the beefy guy we all thought it was doing his beefy things, and now you're gonna fight him.
And I also liked Alexa how he mentioned basically, like, I didn't do any of this. You know, like, I laid out the possibility for this to happen. Yeah. They took it from here. This was not like a master, you know, like, this wasn't all me manipulating or controlling people. I didn't control anyone. They all had a choice, right. And they all chose to do this. So I thought that was a really powerful sort of statement of the movie. Right.
Big question left hanging at the end of this movie. Did Steve Trevor lie about his dick size?
I heard.
Did he?
I actually saw somewhere that
you heard
that those two actors that Gail and Chris improvised that whole scene.
No way.
Yeah.
Really? That's amazing.
Oh, that's what I saw. Yeah.
That's awesome.
They improvised that whole scene about on the boat.
Above average.
I thought that was kind of neat.
Above average.
I mean, as far as improv goes, it's not like the most impressive of acting improv, but it was cheeky and it added some humor. I think that's something that the Marvel films do significantly better than any of the DC films before, is really weaving humor into the script and throughout the story and having it feel like it has a natural place there. So I'm glad to see that we did have a couple, you know, laugh out loud moments in Wonder Woman, but certainly a much more serious in tone film than most of the Marvel films have been.
Yep.
Do you guys like that in a superhero movie? Do you wish there was more comedy?
I like the levity.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like it when it's super dark. All the time. It's hard to watch. You know, you need a little bit of levity in there.
So you didn't like the Dark Knight films?
Up a little bit. Yeah.
So film is the
no?
Yeah,
fair enough. Like,
did you like them? I thought you said, did you see them?
No, did you like them? Because they were all dark.
You know, they were okay.
Okay, so you didn't. Britt, what were you saying?
I mean, there was... Yeah, go ahead.
So what I was going to say is that... Steimer. Is that film is the one medium where I'm not a, quote, critic. I'm not really a movie buff. I don't see a lot of films. So when I see a film, I'm just there to enjoy it. So it was interesting for me to listen to you ladies critique the movie because those were things I hadn't really thought of. So going back to your question, Andrea, about comedy. Comedy's always a good thing, so I'm all for the comedies in my superhero films because that makes them more enjoyable. I don't want a dark and gritty film because then because I'm so absorbed in it, I'm not critiquing it. I just get like not dark and depressed. I get depressed. So make me laugh. I don't want to see people dying. I don't want to hear about people's parents dying in alleyways. I just want to laugh.
Man, again. How many times can we see that story, Batman?
How many times?
More Spider-Man. How many times can Uncle Ben die?
I know. Poor Uncle Ben probably killed more than any other uncle.
Rip in peace, Uncle Ben.
Cinema. Okay, cool. Well, I think, though, the consensus, though, ladies, if we were doing a thumbs up, because we don't do scores or, like, actual ratings, but... How do you feel? I would do
thumbs up. Go
see
it.
Double thumbs up, even though it wasn't my favorite of the superhero movies. It still was pretty good.
It was a fun movie.
Yeah,
it was fun for 9:50 in the morning.
The mimosas definitely.
The mimosas definitely helped.
Whiskey.
So if you haven't had a chance to see it, I will say I'm a big proponent of watching movies at home when they're like comedies or dramas that don't necessarily take advantage of the big screen and the theater sound effects. This is a movie that you should go and see in a theater. If you have the opportunity, if it's still playing in your town. I think it's playing in most cities across the U.S. still. If you haven't seen it yet, definitely worth the time. Check it out, Wonder Woman. And that'll wrap it up for our off-topic segment for this week. So if you guys have not yet visited us at www.patreon.com/whatsgoodgames, please do. Please come visit us there. We also have a website, whatsgoodgames.com, our Twitter account, whatsgood_games. Yes?
Yep.
What's Good Games Official is our Instagram, facebook.com/whatsgoodgames. If you missed any of our E3 coverage from last week on the Facebook Live stage, you can find that on facebook.com/E3Expo. We have some cool stuff coming up for you next week. We will be here all together in the studio once again.
I missed you too.
Yay. I know.
It's been
We're
like
going
a
to
week.
see each other so soon. We have a couple really cool exclusive Patreon pieces of content coming. We have our happy hour Q&A live stream, which could get a little messy. We're going to try to keep it together.
It's going to be a shit show.
But we'll be taking your questions and having some cocktails. Then we have our after-hour stream, which is another Patreon exclusive. If you guys want the opportunity to get in on these for next month, you can head on over to our Patreon page and join us. Join our community there. We'd really love to have you. And I'm going to be posting a photo of Alexa's work in progress for the postcard for next month.
It's really good. I'm really proud of myself.
The postcards for this month are going out this week. If you are part of that tier, Miss Brittany has designed the postcard for this month. It's pretty great. You guys are gonna love it.
It's my best work.
Ladies, let the people know where they can find you. Steimer.
I am twitter.com/Steimer. I'm Steimer on Instagram. I am /Steimer on YouTube, but I haven't posted there in a while. I need to do that. And then I'm twitch.tv/Steimer as well.
Brittany.
I am all the social medias at Blonde Nerd.
Super simple. Alexa Ray.
You can find me at Twitter at Alexa Ray C, and also my book is out.
Yay! Her book was published. Congratulations.
I wrote a book about Kingdom Hearts. Surprise. And you can buy that at bossfightbooks.com, or you can buy it off of amazon.com. And hopefully at some point we'll have something going up somewhere about the process behind writing it. So if you want to check it out and talk to me about it, okay.
Congratulations, you're a published author now.
I am. I'm so excited. Yay. I got an ISBN number and everything. ISBN number and everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Big time.
Look at you, stud.
She's going to get too big for us.
Never.
WGG girls.
Never.
Yeah, don't leave us. Don't leave me.
Never.
The best place to catch up with what I've been doing is on Twitter at Andrea Renee. You can find out about all the coverage that I've done on E3 there. You can see links for the Kind of Funny Games Daily Show, which launched this week.
Woo!
We are now battling in the iTunes charts with our friends at Kind of Funny. We got to take them down, ladies. Take them down. I'm going to be posting some of the other Facebook content that I've done on my Facebook page, or excuse me, on my .com. That's AndreaRenee.com. So thank you so much to everybody who stuck around to the end. We love you. Thank you for being part of our community. We will be back next week with more content. Until then, have a fantastic weekend.